Good morning, church. We're in Luke chapter 5 today, and it's a great chapter. One of the challenges when we do the New Testament challenge is deciding which of the incredible stories that we can talk about, that we can kind of highlight in this chapter. And this one that so stands out to me is the man who has leprosy, who comes to Christ and begs Christ to heal him. Now, if you're not familiar, leprosy in that day was the most feared disease you could have. Not only did it kill you very slowly, it was very painful, but when you came down with leprosy, you were separated from your family. You were separated from your friends. See, if we get something awful like cancer in our lives, we can have the knowledge that we'll have friends, families, loved ones around there to comfort us. If you had that disease, you were pushed away and you had to live with strangers who in a lot of senses became your new family. You had to wear special clothing that marked you as a leper, and so people could see you and avoid you. If they saw you, they did. You had to yell out, "Unclean, unclean," if people got too close, so they knew that you had leprosy. You could even be stoned if you got too close and you didn't identify yourself. And here's this man who comes to Christ, which took a challenge on its own because he had this disease. And then he begs Christ to heal him. And then Jesus does something amazing. Not amazing that he healed him, but the way he did it. See, Jesus could have just said, "Be healed," and he would have been healed. But Jesus chose to touch him. And then, in that touch, heal him. And to me, that was amazing. Here was someone who was an outcast. Here's someone who no one else would even think of touching. And Jesus not only performs the physical healing, but I think with that touch, an emotional healing of knowing that he wasn't an outcast, that he was again clean and loved by God. And I think it's a challenge for us because a lot of times we want to do ministry from a distance. We want to keep our distance. And Christianity has always been amazing. It went places no one else would go. It would go to leper colonies and it would minister to people who no one else would. The Spanish flu in 1918 that killed over 25 million Americans. When hospitals were overran, when there was no place to care, it was churches that allowed people to come in and be cared for and even help them have comfort as many of them died when others were writing it off and trying to get away. See, it was Christians who were willing to break down barriers to not keep a barrier from being something that people would come to know him. And it's just a challenge for us to know that as God calls us, he calls us to be in the world and touch the world, not just minister from a distance, but minister one-on-one. I guess I find it amazing that Jesus not only healed him, which, is not amazing, but the fact he chose to do it by a touch. Who does God want you to touch today? Who does God want you to reach out and let them not just know about God's love, but in a practical way, feel the love that God wants to minister through you, through me, in their lives? Well, guys, continue on the New Testament challenge as you'll be in Luke 6 tomorrow, and look forward to seeing you guys on church this weekend.